evening all, and welcome to Surge Online. It is nice to have you with us again. I hope you're all doing well and surviving lockdown number 3. It's like a really bad trilogy of films. I'd say it's like Back to the Future, but Back to the Future 1 and 2, quite decent. 3, not so good. So hopefully this will be better. Maybe the third will be the best yet. Anyway, moving on. We've got a great night for you tonight. Beth-Anne is on in a moment with another challenge with some incredibly wonderful voiceovers tonight. See if you can spot the amazing, or hear the amazing mistake in some of her wording tonight. I think it's very good. And we'll leave it at that. And then also we have Ben Gregory speaking to you all tonight. It'll be a nice little treat for you all to see Ben again. You've probably not seen him for quite a while, some of you. And he's got a really good message for you all tonight. So listen for that in a moment. I'll be back on at the end to say goodbye and everything else. But in the meantime, here is Beth-Anne with some apples.
Hello Surge, it's me, Beth-Anne, with my crazy challenge. And obviously it involves food. Now I'm going to be bopping my head into the freezing cold water to get these apples out, which will then become unusable. The reason I'm doing a voiceover is because I'm psyching myself out. I don't like dunking my head into cold water. It's really not a hobby of mine. So yeah, you're going to see the time it's going to take me. Let's see if you can do it faster. I doubt it because I am a speed machine. Here we go. Psych myself out. 3, 2, 1, go. First one was very easy, very easy. I was like, oh, I can do this. Yeah, very easy so far. And then this one goes in my eye. I was like, oh my gosh. Ready? I'm like, oh, my eye. Kind of hurt, but it's alright. Do it for you. Yeah, so as you can see, it took me 24 seconds. You're welcome. See if you can beat me. See you next time. Bye.
Hi guys, I hope you're doing well. I'm Ben, if you don't remember me or know me. I'm going to be chatting to you tonight. I guess by now you're deep into lockdown 3. What? Lockdown 3? This is crazy. It's crazy when you think of it. I remember I was just listening to the news and hearing him say, like, you can't go out your home, you can only go out your home to do the shopping. It's just crazy world we live in. But anyway, yeah, I guess it's been a difficult year for yourselves and everyone really. But I'm hoping it's not being too harsh on you and the effects of this virus. But I guess you're sick of talking about it and listening to it by now. But yeah, and I guess back at school, which is probably a bummer, I imagine. Hopefully not. Hopefully you're excited. Yeah, snow's gone, trees down, Santa's chilling out for the next 11 months. And yeah, so I'm going to be talking to you tonight about my testimony. So how Christ and God has made a difference in my life. So first I'm just going to go through a few verses from the Bible of where it talks about testimonies, where it says to, and it's a command really, to share your testimony. So firstly in Psalm 107:2, let the redeemed of the Lord say so, whom he has redeemed from trouble. 1 Peter 3 verse 15 also says, but in your hearts revere Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to anyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. But do this with gentleness and respect. And I hope tonight I do this with gentleness and respect for you guys watching. 1 Peter 2 verse 9 to 10. But you are the ones chosen by God, chosen for the high calling of priestly work, chosen to be a holy people, God's instruments to do his work, and speak out for him, to tell others of the night and day difference he made for you, from nothing to something, from rejected to accepted. And finally, in Luke 8 verse 39, Jesus did a miracle for a man, and the man wants to go with Jesus and follow him and go where he's going next. But Jesus says this: return to your home and declare how much God has done for you. And he went away proclaiming throughout the whole city how much Jesus had done for him. So I guess there are just a few verses where it talks about that in the Bible. And I guess getting to know God for me wasn't this one big bang moment, massive miracle, wasn't healed in any amazing way. There wasn't a light that suddenly shone down from heaven and said, then you should follow me. But it was actually lots of smaller encounters where God kind of showed up. He answered a prayer. Someone felt like God was speaking to them about me and shared it with me, and it was directly on point, and they didn't even know me. Or God spoke to me through how I was thinking, or changed my mental, where I was mentally at a stage. So there's many different ways, and I guess I'll go through them a few tonight. And also I guess as well as them encounters, it's choices. It's making choices daily, and when God did show up, making that choice to follow him and to do what he's saying, or to don't do what he's saying not to do. But a bit of a background for you guys: I haven't always lived in Uttoxeter. I used to, I've kind of been in Uttoxeter for 5.5 years now. So I got a higher degree apprenticeship with JCB, and that's how I got, and why I started living here. So I grew up in Birmingham. I grew up in a Christian home. I've got 2 older brothers and a younger sister, family life for me was pretty good. I had a really blessed family life, to be honest with you, and a really healthy upbringing, really, and I massively thank God for that. So there were a few things earlier on in my years, but we don't have time to go through everything tonight, so I wanted to go on to the main bits, really. So when I was kind of like 15, 16, 17, so year 10, year 11, year 12, going into kind of Haybridge, that's where I went. Into sixth form. The first kind of decision I made for God was surrounding I had 2 girlfriends, not at the same time. You'll be good to know, but I had 2 girlfriends around that period, and I guess I was going out with for about kind of 3 to 4 months. Definitely wasn't more than 6 months, and then I went on a trip to it was a youth conference, Soul Survivor, which some of you guys may have been on, and my youth pastor came over to me at the end of one of the evening events, and said that God had spoke to him, and that he felt God was saying that the relationship that I am wasn't great and it wasn't healthy, and I should think about acting on that and changing it. And once I heard that, I kind of took it away and thought about it and realised that actually the relationship wasn't really the best for me and best for my walk with God and making them decisions. And it took me a long time to do anything about it, but eventually I did. But it was I remember feeling such fear of having to speak to her, and the fear of her telling her friends and what they would say and what people would say and how to break it. It was really difficult, and but that was the first decision I actually made because God spoke to me, and that was a massive moment. I remember thinking remember it being a bit of a moment. However, even though I'd made that decision, there were them years I kind of did drift away from what I'd been taught in church and followed the crowd with what people were doing at school, and people started having house parties and drinking, getting drunk, doing other things that weren't great or bad, yeah. And I did things then that I regret, and there's some really poor behaviour that I don't look back on well, and it really probably hurt me and didn't help me in growing us into a good person or in any way. And through it all, to be honest, I felt really broken and insecure, and it's probably a lower period in my life looking back, and it was, and I didn't stand up for what I believed in at the time, and I guess I was going through a period of learning more, and actually that process of putting things into action is much different than just going to church on a Sunday and hearing people talk about following God and what that means, and honouring God with your life. But so even for that period I was still going to church, as I said, and the big point for me were like we used to go away on these like conferences or trips, and some in the UK. I also went to one in Bulgaria, which was great fun, and I used to really enjoy them. I mentioned I went to Soul Survivor, but we also went to a conference called New Wine, which is down south, somewhere. I think it was like Shepton Mallet, like Devon way. I was actually like on team helping out with the like sports area of the youth area, because my youth pastor was actually leading the youth area. So he was preaching one night and on one of the evenings, and he kind of as he was coming to the end of his talk, he kind of said, is there anyone who wants to kind of really make that decision to commit and live a life for God, for Jesus, for and in following Him, kneel and give that and make that decision, and don't do it just because your friends are doing it. Don't just do it because you think you should do it or your mum's going to be pleased with you, but do it because you want to do it, and you want to follow God. And I remember that was a real moment of kind of consolidation of where I was at in that period, but like thinking, you know what, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm actually going to go away, and I'm going to make choices in my own life when I'm with non-Christian friends, with at school. I'm going to make decisions to follow God, and that moment was a pivotal moment for me in my walk with God. And I really felt in that period that I was on like in a stage of like this life of going to church on a Sunday, going to these trips and youth trips, and then Monday to Saturday I was a completely different person. I wasn't following God. I wasn't honouring God. I wasn't and I felt like I was in this, like I could go two options, and there was no gap in the middle really. It was two options: either follow God or don't. And that moment for me was a real decision-making moment. And I think we come to them times, everything comes to a point in decisions and stuff. So in that period, I also felt God on that trip saying, talking to me, I felt about starting a Christian union, because there wasn't one at schools. So I did that when I went back into my A-levels, into like sixth form. And that was massive, because I was having to be open to all my friends and show that meant something to me, and I was actually going to do something about it. And in A-levels, I just got a real testimony of how God showed up, really. I guess through all my exams, I just felt I could not have be where I am today without God's hand and blessing on my life. I tell you that, that is truth. I remember in A-levels I did physics, maths and product design, and physics and maths, oh my life. I remember coming out of some of the lessons nearly crying. They were brutal. I found it real hard. I had to work really hard. But in them exams, I can tell you now, I wouldn't have passed them exams without God's hand. And I gave it my all. I worked very hard, and I work very hard in my job now, and I always have done. And that's really important. And I think God sees that. But also, I needed God's hand and God's help. And I honestly, if you've got exams coming up, trust God, pray, ask for God for the grades that you deserve and you want, and trust Him. And whatever the results, trust that He's got you, and in that He's got a plan for your life. So I guess God's impact on my life, really, I guess from being in that kind of broken place before, as I grew up and started making more choices for Him and learning about Him, and now I feel in such a more centered, solid place, and a much better place mentally, a much healthier place, a much stable and present space, and God, I've asked for God for things, and He's answered, and when I've needed peace, He's gave me, and I asked Him. I encourage you to, if you need something from God, ask Him, and He'll give it you. However, it wasn't all plain sailing for me, and I'm sure for many of you and other people, the Christians, it wasn't. When I left home, I found that period really hard, leaving home. I left and was managing kind of a uni degree and all the assignments and exams, as well as a new job and trying to find friends and a new house. It was just a lot. And in that period I started to lose weight. I had this real anxiety, fear in my mind, and I used to lose weight, and I got to a point where I would struggle to leave the house for work in the morning, and I remember going into work was just real hard sometimes, and God's word, I tell you now, got me through that. Without God, I wouldn't have got through that, and just them Bible verses are massively strengthening and amazing. And encourage you, if you're going through something right now, if you're finding fear is really a real issue, type it into Google. This is what I did, just Bible verses on fear and anxiety, and those will come up, and then that help you help you and strengthen you, as it's God speaking in them words. It's God inspired. So just to wrap it up, really, I just want to say that God likes you. He doesn't just love you, He likes you. He wants a relationship with you. He wants to spend more time with you. And I know the teenage years are hard, and they were for me. You're kind of figuring out yourself and your future, but you'll get there. Keep making them choices for God. I encourage you. Keep coming to church, watching these videos and stuff. I just thank you for watching, guys, and I hope that you took something from it, and I hopefully see you soon. All the best.
Thank you, Beth-Anne, for the game, and thank you, Ben, for that great word and testimony of your life so far. Thank you for doing that too. I think you'll all agree, guys, that was a really good message. So, guys, this has come to the end of tonight's Surge Online. I thank you all for coming and seeing us and watching us again. We hope you're all doing well. I know it's going to be not a great season for the next few weeks potentially for you, but just try and look for the positives, guys. I know it's not easy, but if you look for the negative, you'll definitely find it. So look for some positives and you'll find them too. If you want us, contact us. We'll help you in the best way we can in COVID secure ways. We hope you're doing well. I know most of you are probably going to be learning online for the next few weeks. And so I hope you're going to get on well with that. Again, if you need anything, just give us a call. All right, guys, we miss you all. Hopefully see you soon.